Hi, my name is Rolf. I'm an ex-video game developer. Now I design and develop iPhone apps. And I've worked on something recently that fits this meetup perfectly. It's a demo that compares HTML and native contents. And not just that, but shows you a way to have your cake and eat it too, to get the convenience of HTML and the user experience of native both at once. So I'm just going to show that right now. All right. So let me explain what you're looking at here. So this screen is actually showcases web-based content. So this entire screen, minus that bar up there with the tools, and minus this custom scroll bar, everything else, the whole screen is just a web view. That's, for the non-developers out there, that's like a Safari browser without the navigation controls. It's just a web page. Now, the thing about this, about web views is, so this content was made by a tool. I have a company, a client, that has a content management tool with thousands of pieces of content already developed. These contents existed before the iPad ever was there, and we want to make use of that. We want to make use of the HTML. But the problem with HTML is it was made for a mouse pointer, like these buttons, for example. Those buttons at the top, if you put them on an iPad, they're kind of small. Mouse pointers are more precise, more accurate than fingers. And if you take something that was designed for a finger and copy and paste it onto an iPad, and that was designed for a mouse pointer, and copy and paste it onto an iPad and use it with your finger, it's going to feel really small and dainty. So these buttons at the top, if I touch them, it takes about half a second to respond. They're really tiny, really easy to miss with my finger, hard to read. And because they're so slow, if I just tap them really quickly, you're not even going to see them respond at all. Maybe you'll see a tiny little flicker if you're lucky. So here's what I did. See these buttons below there, the bigger ones? So those are actually native iPad buttons. So what I did there is I wrote a tool where I can take a web page. Before I put it on the screen, I inject a style sheet into it that tells it to make the buttons bigger and make them invisible, strangely enough. So I replace these tiny, dainty gray web buttons with large, invisible buttons. And then after the web page loads, I take my invisible buttons and I put actual iPad buttons over top of them. So these big buttons on the bottom, they're not part of the web page. They are iPad buttons put on top of the web page. And what that enables me to do is, as soon as I press down on this button, it responds instantly. And then I have that nice little pop animation too, to make them bigger, which is great because your finger's covering up most of it. And it might even, oh no, this one doesn't do it, but if this were the real app in production, I would also respond to the button. Very hard to do. It's very hard for your web page to talk to your iPad app. When I replace these web buttons with iPad buttons, it makes it very easy to do that. So in a real production, I can very easily respond to those buttons being pressed, not so with web buttons. Another fringe benefit, if I select, oh, say, a highlighter and draw onto the lesson. Now, what do you suppose if I have a highlighter selected and I touch the button? Do I want to highlight on top of the button? Probably not. I probably want to touch the button instead. So there's another little fringe benefit I get from replacing web buttons with iPad buttons. All right, let's go down to a more complicated example. So this up here is an HTML-based text input area. It's a text area, HTML element. So if I just use that as is, first of all, it's kind of slow and clunky. Second of all, if I type text in there, the problem is that text wasn't really made for a human eye. It looks more like it was made for an electron microscope. It's really tiny. There are other problems with this as well. Instead, what I did is I found text area elements, and whenever I see a text area, I move it out, I rip it out of the web page, and I replace it with an iPad text area. And that gives me full control and lets me do something a little like this. So this one here responds instantly. You'll see a nice animation when I select it. It's not as busy with moving around. It only moves around when it has to. I don't like things moving around a lot unless they really need to. And the biggest change is I can actually read the text because it's big enough. There's actually another benefit, which I'll save for last. Oh, wait, and another one, that keyboard. If I scroll, I probably don't want to type anymore, so it goes away automatically. So because I replace that web widget with an iPad widget, I get full control to do all these kinds of things. Biggest one, I think, is radio boxes, multiple choice. So this here is a standard HTML multiple choice radio box widgets. First of all, just like the buttons, they're really tiny, they're really hard to use, and they're really slow. So if you just tap them, by the time it actually selects, I'm wondering if it even recognized my tap, and I might tap again. So they're pretty problematic to use, I think. So I have two solutions to that, actually. Second one, the one in the middle of the screen, I took only those radio buttons, and I did exactly what I did with the buttons I showed you before. So I replaced them with big invisible buttons, and then I overlaid them with iPad buttons. And that lets me have these radio buttons that respond right away as soon as I tap them. They have a popping animation, so even though my finger covers it, I can see what's going on. And fringe benefits, I can swipe to change the selection. I can touch next to it instead of on it, so I can see what I'm doing, and so it's more responsive. Okay, and I can unselect something. This is another concept using another approach to the same concept. And finally, for the punchline, one really great fringe benefit that really spawned this whole idea, this text area right here. If I exit the app, oh no, I might have lost all my work, right? How did that save? So, because I have full control over it, I can not only restore it, but I can do so in an animated way. So you start up the app and you think you lost your work, and it shows up again. All right, that's all the time I have for you today. Hope you enjoy the rest of the meetup.